What's up? This is Stand On Blood podcast. I'm your boy Dex, and my right is the. How do you want to be proclaimed on here? Like,
Just call me Haitian.
okay, some people, some people like, you want to be identified by your nationality. Some people, I mean, Grizzly
I mean
One.
Haitian fresh. It don't matter.
Just
I mean
saying Grizzly One,
most people call
and Baku Junior.
yeah most people call me Haitian. I actually used to have dreadlocks. I had dreadlocks for 11 years, and so people
I
used to
could
call me
see
Dread.
it. I could see
Yeah,
it. That'd be a dope ass villain name, honestly. Oh
yeah,
shit, it's
it, it,
Dread.
yeah, yeah.
That's besides the point. Besides the point. Um, so today we're gonna get into a couple topics. Is there anybody you want to shout out while we starting this up?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
I mean, hey, you never know.
I mean, I shout out to all the followers and the listeners. We appreciate y'all. And I mean, we couldn't do this without y'all. So
We,
I shout you out.
yeah, of course. Not only that, got to give a shout out to the people who brought us together. Good old freestyle. Always got to give love to the parent
That's
company,
facts. That's facts.
to the
That's
parent
facts.
corporation.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, we need to push that out in that chat too to make sure they know that we over here. Um, but other than that, let's get into it. Number
Yeah.
one,
So
big thing.
go ahead.
First question as we did last time, since we kind of started up that way last time. Top 5 superhero movies.
Oh, okay. Is that the one that you wanted to do?
Yeah, we got top 5. We gonna do top 5 superhero movies. That way, the first couple, we introducing ourselves to the people. They need to know they know when we start out with anime. Let's see what we know with the superheroes.
Okay. So I'll start that off. So my first two are probably not going to be a surprise to anybody. It's The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
Okay. Now my next two might surprise some people. I would have to probably say The Incredible Hulk is number 3. That's the Hulk that came out in like 2008, not the one
Yeah,
that came in 2003, 2008. That
2008,
one's
the Edward Norton, the real
exactly,
first start of the MCU.
exactly. Which that to date, that's still the best Hulk that
Yeah, I like that one the
I've
best.
seen. That's better than the Avengers Hulk, and that's better than the Hulk before him.
I like that one the best too.
Honestly, I don't like how they. I think it could have been the Avengers Hulk, but I don't know if we're
They
even
really
allowed to
came
say it.
with. Go ahead, say what you gotta say.
They bitched him basically. I mean, he was actually the Hulk in the first movie, but as soon as he met Thanos, that's when he decided to just stop playing the Hulk. You have this guy, Bruce Banner, whatever his name is, now has to have on a Iron Man suit to be able to fight.
Yeah, I get what they were going with on that,
I don't.
but
I don't. The Hulk is supposed to be a very just unpredictable green monster, and he became very predictable and he became boring.
yeah, like I said, I get where they were going, but
But I would say that my number 4 is Man of Steel. To this day, I think that is still the best Superman. Even though the newer Superman, that one was okay, but I still think that Henry Cavill, whatever his last name is, he plays the best Superman. I like the whole dark aspect of it. Um, and then number 5. Now that one's a tricky one. I want to say Civil War, but also I would say that Infinity War is right up there with Civil War. And I would say just because of the impact that Infinity War had on all of its Avenger watchers. Like the whole ending with Thanos snap and half of the cast disappearing and stuff like that. Granted, I wish that half of them would have stayed disappeared. I'm one of those type of fans. I'm one of the type of fans that don't like happy endings. I love endings that make me feel distraught. Um, so I would say
well,
I
personally,
might
to me,
go ahead.
it's not just that. I'm a firm believer in dead is dead.
Yeah,
You ruin the impact of the death when you constantly bring them back.
yeah,
If
I
there's
agree.
always a way back, then it's too much. It's always too much when like he's dead. oh, he found a miracle to come back. It's like, all right, that made the sacrifice he made pointless, and that kind of ruins the story to me because in the background, now you don't know what's the new rules. Did something happen? Is he ever really going to be worried about death again?
Yeah, that's one reason. Even though I love Dragon Ball, I cannot stand how they always bring back Goku, always.
Well,
So like from the point of Dragon Ball Z, basically going forward, I just didn't believe that he would ever die. And so
yeah.
even though, like I said, I do love Dragon Ball, I don't like it when shows do stuff like that. Um, Maybe the first time around, I kind of understood because let's see, the first time that he died was versus. It was
Raditz.
versus. Did he actually die during Raditz?
He
Versus
died.
Raditz?
Remember, he died and went to King Kai's with Raditz.
Sorry, that's my dog right there.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
for some reason I
died.
wanted. For some reason, I thought it was with Boo.
No, his first death was with Raditz because remember he died and he had to run Snake Way to get to King Kai. That's how he met King Kai.
Oh, that is true. Okay, yeah, okay, that's facts. That's facts. Um, but going back to the subject at hand, I would say that number 5 would probably have to be Civil War, and I just like the whole idea of the good guys going against the good guys, and you have all these superheroes essentially just fighting each other, and obviously they weren't going to try to kill each other, even though there's that whole situation with Captain America's side hand. What's the dude's name? The black dude?
Falcon.
Yeah, Falcon. Even though you had that whole little thing where he was about to die. But I just like the whole aspect of the good guys fighting against good guys for different reasons.
Everyone, like I said, everyone wants to believe they're smarter than the writer and tell the writer what he needs to do. That's why we still have Goku still staying alive because he wasn't supposed to come back after the Cell arc. He wasn't.
Right.
Remember, the Japanese people got mad and told him, we're not gonna watch or buy a DBZ unless you bring Goku back. It's the same thing happening with our people now in America. I don't know how many times I've said, even when I was younger, okay, I'm sick of Bruce Wayne. When is Dick Grayson, or when is another person gonna take up the mantle? He needs to be gone. Bruce should be dead. The only person who should still be there kinda is Superman because he's Kryptonian. Of course he's gonna stay there. It should be passed on. That's the reason why I guarantee that's the reason why we haven't gotten Batman Beyond movie. If they make that movie's gonna make so much money and kill it. I don't give a crap. MCU won't touch it. MCU will not touch it. You're gonna get Michael Keaton, the original Batman from the movies, to come back and be old man Batman, and then you get a new Batman to come in. I don't get that. You got old people and new people. What? You got who? No, let's do this. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. But
it's just it is what it is with the anime thing.
Yeah, it is, and like I mentioned before, I'm not completely against power scaling, but if a show is gonna have ridiculous power scaling, I would prefer it to start out with ridiculous power scaling. Go ahead and set that baseline. That way, I kind of know what to expect throughout the series. Don't start out with something that is supposed to be just like, think about how crazy it would be if the next season of Baki, they were just able to destroy planets, right? That would just be ridiculous because they already set the baseline. Hey, everybody is a martial artist, and it's basically all about just technique. It's not about necessarily who's more powerful than this person, who's stronger than this person. Somebody can literally out technique you and end up winning.
What you said was exactly what happened with Naruto. They had a baseline. They had a good baseline. Because I don't know if you remember, I remember distinctly when I first watched it, it said everyone has a certain amount of chakra. It does not go any further than that. You can't make it any more. It's just how much chakra you have. Then later on in the story, all of a sudden, well, Kakashi can spam the. Well, how can he spam? Well, he was out of practice and he built up his chakra to do more. I'm like, but he said it earlier in the series that you can't do that. You just have what you have. Unless you have special circumstances. That's not a special circumstances. The power of friendship. I know this is anime, but no, he didn't believe in himself
Yeah.
and just no, stop that. Um, I think that's what I think this is gonna. I think until we get to that point where we realize that power scaling is more for the controversial thing to bring more people in than it is to actually tell the story. We don't have some toxicity in the group.
Not just that, but I also think it's there for the flashy lights.
Yeah,
I think it's there also just to make the anime look pretty, because obviously we are in an era to where people have shorter attention spans, right? And so they need that, eye-catching visual in anime for people to actually stick with the anime. That's why something like Solo Leveling, even though people like to think of the story being, lackluster, not that strong, they have really, really good fight scenes, and that's because of the consistent power upscaling of Sung Jin Woo, and then also just the power scaling of the other characters as well. It just makes for really, really pretty TV, and so
yeah.
that's another thing.
I think that's got to be a conversation now. Like, do we need to tone back on animation and uptick on the story? Even though Fearon's doing a good job of it, but I still think we need to do that. But
I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I mean, I'll be honest. I have found myself, and maybe it's my fault for conditioning myself this way, I have found myself being kind of similar to that. Like, my attention span, even though I did grow up with anime, I grew up with Dragon Ball, I grew up with Naruto, I grew up with all these type of other animes that did have slower paced stories. I found myself wanting a sort of more faster pace storyline, faster
no,
pace.
I'm not. What I'm saying is this: keep your pacing, not basically completely say forget about the story. I'm saying is focus on making a good story pace and a good storyline. More than basically spend more money on the writers than you do the animators. Let your because you should have, to me, when I think of animation, when I think of art like that, I think one camp is your writers, one camp is your animators, one camp is your music, and your other camp is your directors, the direction of it. Your director should be able to tell you, okay, this is the writers wrote this is how I see it playing out. We don't need 4K HD this, because I guarantee if you take, I'll say it like this, take Solo Leveling. I love the animation, it's great, but imagine if it had a more gritty looking animation to it. Not grainy, but very gritty, a lot darker. As the story gets on, it feels more of a rough cut than just super crisp and everything is flashy and it's lights
I think
everywhere.
it'll be worse. I honestly do. And a good example, not necessarily of that, but what you're saying in a whole, I think whenever you, like if you had it on like a scale and it was good storytelling versus good animation, I think good animation is going to win 7 out of 10 times. And a good example of that is Frieren versus Solo Leveling. Obviously, we saw that the first season of Solo Leveling ended up winning Anime of the Year. A lot of people did not agree with that, but that's what happened.
But
right, and so I think most people prefer good animation over good storytelling.
What I mean by when I say focusing on it, I mean this: you don't know what you have until you don't know what you have until you don't have it. We have Frieren now. People love Frieren. We have
not as much Solo Leveling.
Wait, look. We have, but if the market is full of and everyone's full of good anime, hey, don't worry about the story so much. Animation is amazing. Think about it. The animation is decent. It's not the best, but it's decent in Shield Hero. People loved it, but it didn't hit because the animation could have been better. I can't watch it because of the animation. Are you watching it because you want to? Are you watching the picture book or are you reading the novel? Are you watching? Like, pick one. You can't have. I don't. I want a story. I want you to entertain me. I don't. If I wanted to,
It's-
I'm sorry.
I don't know if I fully agree with that because, like, for example, like with Vinland Saga, right? The first season, I think we can all agree, had the most action in it, had the better animation. It still had a good storyline, but the reason people didn't like season 2 was because of the storyline. They thought it was boring. But I think the storyline in the second season of Vinland Saga was absolutely beautiful. But since it strived away from those high intensity type of scenes that was in season 1, season 2 was not highly praised upon like season 1 was. I think, like I said before, people prefer just the high octane type
They
of.
have. So my question to you is then, would you not agree then that the hate towards solo leveling is pointless?
Yes,
You can't-
I
you
think it
can't-
is. I think it
you
is pointless.
You can't, like I said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't get mad because it doesn't have much of a story, but it's they said the same thing about Demon Slayer. It's the story's not that great. It's living off its animation. That's what you wanted. We gave you Frieren. We gave you a Shield
Yep.
Hero. You like it, you love it, but you don't really throw your money at it. I would throw my money all day in the Shield Hero. The way it started alone was, that's interesting. It took a genre that has the same old, and it took it and it dropped it on its head and said, "Hey, you see how you like this? We gonna do it this way now. This is how we gonna do it. He ain't gonna be the hero outright. We gonna make him hated. We gonna make him like black people in America. We gonna make him hated, no reason." And it just went there, and it gave you a real hero story. That's what I'm like. I think we need to start, because I hate to say this because I love my anime, but what's gonna happen is anime is gonna have its MCU moment. It's gonna be just like the MCU, where they're gonna be so focused on giving them great CGI and awesome fights and all this, and then the story's gonna look stupid, and everybody's gonna be like, "What the hell am I watching?" Okay, that look.
I don't know if that's true. Just because with anime, I feel like there's so many different. Well, first of all, mangas that you can go off of that have a good balance of both. And I don't know. I don't know if I fully agree with that.
The reason why I'm saying that is because look at anime now. Back in the day,
Everybody, but,
no, this
but everybody
what I'm
loves it.
saying. But everybody loves to say they love it. That's the difference. Everyone loves to say they love anime, but when you really get into the nitty gritty, they only watch 2 or 3 anime. They barely watched it. It's the new hip thing to be a part of. Anime is the new hip trick. Everybody, oh, I like anime, I'll watch it. Oh, look, Cardi B likes it, I need to like it. But have you seen this? No. Well, have you heard of it? No. What do you watch? Oh, I only watch Attack on Titan. I only watch Solo Leveling. Okay, so you're a Solo Leveling fan. I wouldn't call you an anime fan. You're a Solo Leveling fan. You like one anime. Are you willing to try this? I couldn't really get into it, but it's basically the same storyline. No, it's not. It's basically the same. No. It's the new hip thing. And what's going to happen is, if you look at the anime community now, most debates aren't on the newer anime anymore. They're on the older anime. Because
for the most part, except for Gojo, yeah, I would agree.
That is JJK. the new ones that's the argument. JJK. No, not Demon Slayer. You may have a couple MHA ones.
Yeah. Maybe Solo Leveling, but only with Jinwoo. That's really the only person
Solo,
worth
but you
mentioning.
can't. Maybe Solo Leveling and maybe One Punch Man. That's about it. Everything else is older. Is the older one. And what's gonna happen is, if it keeps going along that path, it's going to die. It's going because you're not getting any fresh. We're regurgitating the same big 3. That's who's dominating. That's who's starting to dominate. The 1,000-year Blood War arc started to kill. Boruto. Can't even scale. They're not even debating Boruto, and that's the new one.
Yeah.
You got Solo Leveling, which, if you think about it, I don't see Solo Leveling staying as hot as it is for another 2 years. After 2 years, people gonna get sick of it.
I'm very iffy on that only because I know how Soul Leveling ends. I read the manga and
Here,
I was not a fan of the ending at all.
here's why I say, here's my example of why Solo Leveling is not gonna make it past being the most popular anime of all time. After about 2 years, maybe three. Look at God, what was the name of that anime? The 40-year-old with Rudius Gray Rat. What is the name of that? Jobless Reincarnation.
Okay.
Amazing animation. Decent storyline, but the fights were good and this was great. It fell off. It fell off so quick. And the storyline wasn't bad. It was actually a decent storyline. It gave him a hero's journey. But if you really look at it, it wasn't a strong storyline. It was like it started to become One Piece, just like it started to become throw a villain in here to make so we could throw some cool fights in there and call it a day. But it started being just thrown against the walls. Stories aren't being. I think one of your questions one of your topics is, can a masterpiece be unfinished? It can, but the problem is people aren't making masterpieces. They're making cash grabs.
No. And this is this is gonna have to be a conversation for a different day.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get into that one.
I do not think I think for something to be considered a masterpiece, it has to have a at least solid beginning, because I understand that character development and storylines can take time to progress, but it has to have a very strong middle and even a stronger end. I don't think that you can have a masterpiece with an unfinished end. I don't think you can. That's why I can't consider Game of Thrones a masterpiece, because it was a little slower at the beginning. It was very strong in the middle, and then it started to fall off towards the end, and then the ending was trash. If the ending would have...
I actually, would you consider the Lord of the Rings franchise a masterpiece?
Not including The Hobbit?
No, all of it.
If you...
Would you consider
with
the
the
franchise?
With the Hobbit,
okay,
no.
that. When I say the franchise, I mean based off of its books. Like the books with the movies. Would you consider that franchise a masterpiece? That's where you have to cut it with masterpiece. Now if you're talking about cinematically, that's different. But if you're talking about a franchise masterpiece, yes, it can be unfinished. Because if you could, let's say, have you read the books?
I haven't read the books. Those are so big. Those books are so big.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me right now. Because there's so much, like I said, so much more in the books. But we'll get there. Because did you know there's supposed to be there was supposed to be another set of books?
Going off of what? The ring was destroyed. So going off of what?
So J.R.R. Tolkien, he actually had every race was supposed to have their own trilogy. Look at it. Look at if you really look at it, The Hobbit was the era and the trilogy of the dwarves.
Which was trash. The Hobbit was trash.
I think the book itself was better. It's because the director.
Now I've read some of the Hobbit books. The books is really good.
The reason why The Hobbit failed was because, just like with Star Wars, the movie makers wanted to, and the producers, I won't say the director, they wanted to add more stuff in to catch more demographics. They added Tauriel, which she didn't need to be added. They added, what was it? They put more focus on the humans that needed it. This was the story of the dwarves. I don't give a shit that much about the humans. I care about the dwarves. What's happening with the dwarves? You could have told the small thing on the back end a little bit. You know, you could have made one movie dedicated the dwarves. That's all we cared about. The next one, only time I should see humans is when they're interacting with either Smaug or the dwarves. That's it. That's where it failed. I don't blame the base, the screenwrite on it. I blame the producers getting into it. But they were supposed to be, the Hobbit was the story of the dwarves. The Lord of the Rings was supposed to be the story of the men, and the Silmarillion was supposed to be the story for the elves. there's supposed to be 3 trilogies. He
I can
died
see that.
before he died before he finished it, and his son tried to finish it, but he died. So it's a I agree with you. Game of Thrones, I don't think it's ever going to be a masterpiece, only because I think George R.R. Martin, personally, this is my thought process, I think he's scared to finish it. Because he
After
doesn't.
the ending,
No, not after that. I think he's scared to finish it because it's gotten so much hype. I think a lot of authors and a lot of artists, they want to end on that high note, and I think that's what he's trying to do. End on that note to where it's untouchable. Can I really top this? Can I really beat this? What if the next one sucks and they get on me for it? You've been writing. If you're supposed to have been writing this for years, it should be done by now.
it should be, but at the same time, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but he's reaching the end of his lifespan a little bit. So I think that should be the last of his worries. I think he should go ahead and
This is
finish
before.
it and then
You
just
know
be
how
done.
old these books are? Yeah, look,
They're old.
I'm about to say these books came out a long. He could have been finished it, or
Yeah.
he could have, or what he really could have done. Smart man. This is what I would have done. This is just me. What I would have done is I would have taken the books. Okay, HBO. What I want you to do is this. I want you to do the show. Season 8. I want full creative control. Give me some screenwriters and stuff. We're gonna write it together. What I want you to do is, after I do this, I'm going to like what's her face did? What the hell's her name?
Cersei?
J.K.
the
Rowling.
character?
Like J.K.
Oh,
Rowling.
okay, J.K. Rowling, yeah.
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna release it as the screenplay or some of the stories as a smaller book to lead into the movie, and I'm going to lead into the TV show, and the TV show is going to be my final chapter.
Yeah.
I don't have to write me. I wrote you the book. You can watch You can watch my final book. You don't have to worry about it. I don't have to do anything. Watch
Yeah.
it. Just watch it. That's it. You're done. But
Okay, so you gave the example of Lord of the Rings as a master, and I can't necessarily agree or disagree with that just because I never read the books. I think cinematically, the trilogy is a masterpiece. Lord of the Rings 1, Lord of the Rings Twin Towers, and Return of the King. I think that by itself is the masterpiece. Now, I think of, even though it has relations, I think of The Hobbit as something completely different. I think that is about as far as a way of masterpiece as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
I think the Hobbit movies are absolute garbage.
I wouldn't call
Do
it
you-
garbage. Honestly, I'm gonna say this. I think what happened with the Hobbit movie is this. Like I said, they told too many story. Legolas' story did not need to be told. Legolas' backstory should have been it should have been its own spin-off. You
Yeah.
could have made you could have made the Legolas TV show. HBO.
That would have been so gas.
Imagine instead of Game of Thrones, if we would have had the Rings of Power. Imagine the Rings of Powers, you would have had a TV show called Prince of, oh God, what's the name of his damn thing? The Prince of Eldarin.
Elves.
Or Prince of the Woods. Prince of the Woods. The Legolas story.
That would be gas.
Now you got Taria. You get to see him, how he dealt with his mother dying, how he fought the orcs, how he met Aragorn, and you get a full-fledged story. You can get 10 seasons out of that. You can get 12 seasons out of that because it's so
Good.
It was such a distance between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Shit, you good.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome. I think they did kind of drop the ball with that.
Same thing with Aragorn. Okay, the story of the king. Bam. Okay, here's what he had to do before he became Strider. Okay, now he's Strider. When he went to train with the Rangers, when he found out about Narsil, when he was training with the elves, big storyline. Same, like a lot. Both anime and movies nowadays, they need to realize that sometimes finishing a story, starting another story, means finishing the other story. Finish it, And sometimes, because let's be honest, sometimes what happens is you finish that story and people don't like it as much. They like it's good, but it could be better. But then you tell the spinoff piggybacks off of that and answers the questions from the, and they get the, oh my god, oh I see why he did, oh, and it progress and makes the, it helps the previous one, the main story, makes it seem more like a masterpiece because you added the little nuggets you couldn't add in the other one, the backstories you couldn't tell. Like, I don't know, like what is the name of that? What's a good one? Smallville. They had the main Smallville story, they added in the Justice Society, and they dedicated 2 full episodes. Here is your special event that tells you the side story of Hawkman and everybody. And now we can continue on with the main one. Now we continue with the main story. That's it. You got what you needed, we move on. We ain't doing that these days.
So do you have another example besides Lord of the Rings of something that's considered a masterpiece but unfinished?
That's considered a masterpiece that's unfinished.
Yeah, because you were saying that you can have a unfinished masterpiece, and I was saying the opposite. I don't think you can. I think something has to have a strong finish for it to be considered a masterpiece.
Avatar's not done yet, and they still consider that a damn masterpiece.
Do they? Do they consider the entire series up to date a masterpiece?
Is rant and raves. Maybe it's probably because it's Peter Jackson, but you know that sometimes, but that's what I also think when it comes to masterpieces. We have to be careful on how we describe what. I think personally, when it comes to masterpieces, it's hard to consider something a real masterpiece because
I think it's something that is absolutely timeless. I think it'll be just as hyped as it was when it first came out versus 20, 30, 40 years from now. I don't think the trilogy of Lord of the Rings will ever die out. I truly do not. I think the first 6 episodes of Star Wars, I think those are masterpieces. They will never die out. Look at the fandom.
But like I said, but can you really consider a masterpiece? It's not done. It's a story that's never going to be done. Here's why you have sometimes you have to give something a masterpiece title, because once you start doing what you're kind of doing, it's like, well, this part of it was a masterpiece, but this part of it wasn't. It's either it's all a masterpiece or it's not a masterpiece. You can't say, well, this trilogy is a part of this story. So it's either none of it is or all of it is.
I guess I understand your point. The way I was thinking about it at first was just because that there is such a long time frame between like the first 6 Star Wars movies coming out and then the next newer movies, 7, 8, 9, whatever. I didn't really think of them as in the same series, even though they are.
Don't you bring up that new bullshit? Don't.
You're right. The new movies are garbage. But I guess if you have to add that in,
you have to, because they didn't say it wasn't canon until they got backlash. It was going to be canon. The problem they ran into is this, and I would die on this hill. I think where they screwed up wasn't the fact that they had Palpatine come back. Where they screwed up was they didn't let Finn be a Jedi. Finn should have been a Jedi. You set him up to be a Jedi. You set him up, and then you took it from him, and oh no, we're gonna bring back this person. No, it should have been. I think what they should have did for the second movie was, okay, I sent 2 people strong in the Force. I sent 2 more people. Rey, I'm gonna train you. Finn, and then out of sudden he points at Finn. Finn, you person, you're gonna come train with me. And he let him that look and say, "What? Me? No, I'm not. I can either make you come, or you can walk over here." And now it's again, because if you look at it, I know this is gonna hit hard. It's about no one's ever seen it this way. No one really sees it this way. What is supposed to be the main difference between the Sith and the Jedi? Besides good and evil, there's one fundamental rule that the Sith has that the Jedi don't. It's a rule. The rule of
Democracy? I don't know.
the rule of two.
The rule of two.
The Sith rule of two. I'm gonna have to, bro. Me and you gonna have to sit down and have a crash course on your nerd.
Also, I haven't watched all of the new Star Wars movies.
This is
the
old.
seventh
No,
one.
this is old. This is an old thing. Remember the Yoda said it. The Sith rule of two: a master and an apprentice. There's always only a master and an apprentice. No more, no less.
Okay.
That was in episode 1. He said it in episode 1. He said, oh, there's Sith. There's always two. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice. Now, if
Granted,
you,
I haven't actually seen the movie.
okay, now,
It's probably been about 15 years.
yeah, I watch it every May the 4th. Now, if you fast forward to the new ones, that's where they screwed up. That's why I personally say they screwed up when he made that rule. Because now look at the Jedi. There's only been a rule of two: a master and an apprentice. That's it. You had Luke and Ben. You didn't find anyone else. So you made Sith. Luke made a Sith. You predominantly were going to make a Sith. Now when you carry on, you have one Jedi. So when you get the next Jedi, you're going to have a Sith. Rey would have to make a Sith. Because the Force has got to find balance now. Dude, I'm a nerd like that. I'm into all that. I'm a super nerd, bro. I know
I have not watched the first movie since I was probably like 9 years.
Oh, no,
probably when I was
it.
like 12 or 13. And
I'll
then the last one I watched was obviously the third one, because that's still to date my favorite one, Revenge of the Sith. I understand that had a lot of hate when it first came out, but I think it has stood the chance of time, and I think that has become a very beloved movie in the series.
I think it's become beloved, but also I think what really solidified it as its greatness was the Kenobi series. Now that was a masterpiece. That was
hold
a
on,
masterpiece.
hold on. You talking about the new Kenobi series?
Yes, that was a masterpiece.
Oh, that was a masterpiece.
That was a masterpiece.
That was like 6 episodes.
That was a masterpiece in storytelling. That was a masterpiece. What?
Okay.
How is it not?
If you say so.
How
Because
is it not?
I feel like that is. I wouldn't necessarily say it's too short.
See,
But
don't do that.
I don't know. Like
that.
I said before, I think something that has to be considered a masterpiece, it has to stand the chance of time, and I don't think that's something that will be.
Yes, it will.
I don't think in 10 years people will talk about that series.
You want to know why they'll talk about it? Because if you really watch it, the nuances they put in it, like the final lightsaber duel, when they by complete accident, when he shifts his lightsaber over when they're facing each other, and the blue highlights one side and you see Anakin, but then when it cuts and he moves his lightsaber, the red highlights his Sith eyes. You see the shift, you see the cinematography, you see Obi-Wan having to go get his lightsaber again, him having to fight to not be a Jedi, and then him seeing Anakin again. You see the real an actual conflict within the Force within him. You see how Leia came up and how they know each other, and you see it. That's what makes it to me. That's what makes it a masterpiece. The actual storytelling, not just oh, it's a Star Wars. Okay, I don't need length. That's another thing about masterpieces. Do you need it by length, or do you need or even you say it's going to stand the test of time? I think it will. I think it will because of how the storytelling went. You think it won't, but like you said, I think we won't know it's a masterpiece for probably it's another 3-4 years.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I would not say that length of a series or of a series is a deciding factor on if it's a masterpiece or not. Only because there are 2 shows. I think. You ever seen Band of Brothers?
Yeah, of course.
I think Band of Brothers.
So
and that was
was
only
it.
that was only 10 episodes. I think that's a masterpiece. I also think The Pacific is a masterpiece. Personally, I think The Pacific is better than Band of Brothers. But that was also only 10 episodes. And then there's a third show that's also 10 episodes. It's called 1883, which is a spin-off of Yellowstone.
I loved that series.
Exactly. That
I love
those
that one.
I would say, yeah, I would say that 1883 and
I love 1923
and The Pacific.
I love
1923 is good, but it's not as good as 1883. I don't think the story is as
I don't think it's
arousing. I guess I don't think it's as strong as 1883. But and that's interesting because a lot of people haven't actually. I guess it's because it was only on Paramount. A lot of people haven't even heard of 1883, not unless you were like a consistent Yellowstone watcher.
Yeah.
Right. And then everybody had heard of Yellowstone just because it had been on for so long. Right. But
and it was good.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say that length does not play a part on if something should be considered a masterpiece or not. Just because I think those three series right there, even though they're 10 episodes, are all three masterpieces. Right. And so.
All right. Well, we're almost at 2 hours. I knew this is gonna be one of them podcasts. I'm telling you, we're gonna start hitting them. We're gonna have to start really doing this early because I know we can talk forever on this. But let's wrap it up. We'd appreciate everyone coming out watching. Please check our TikTok, our YouTube page. I finally just set that up. I literally set that up when we were talking earlier. And
Okay.
And obviously Twitch. We're gonna start posting episodes on here too. I'm probably gonna post it like right after this, just so we have it rolling. What's your handles, man? I know you got some handles. You got no other. You got no Twitches, no TikToks, no.
I mean,
Don't
not really.
Don't worry, people. Don't worry,
no.
people. I'm gonna fix him. I'm gonna fix him for
No,
you.
no, hold on.
Fix him for
So
you.
I do have another business to
Okay.
where I actually have a few businesses. If you like perfumes, I am a perfume maker. Okay, so I make my own perfumes and I sell it online. It's called DeziAvi, DeziAvi. So if you just type in DeziAvi.com, it'll literally take you to my website. So that's my perfume side, and then I have a air freshener business where I make air fresheners, pillow sprays, car fresheners, all types of stuff. I make all the stuff myself. That's called Eveline. If you type in Eveline Cleaners, which is EVELINE cleaners.com, then that'll pop up my Eveline website. And so if you need a new air freshener or pillow spray or whatever, you can shop that website for that. And so literally just type in either one of those names and I should pop up.
All
So
right,
those are
there you go. There's your handles. All right, so you heard him. If you want to beat back the funk, you talk to him.
That's right.
If you want to help him
That's
stop,
right.
if you walk in the room, you go, ah, you just say Eveline. That's what you do every time.
There you
Mine,
go.
almost on everything. I'm Broken Lineage. Just look up Broken Lineage LLC or just Broken Lineage. You'll find this face somewhere on there. Yeah, it needs surgery. It's okay. I'm working on it. But this is this has been Stand on Blood. I'm Dex. That's my boy Haitian. We'll catch you guys later.
See you.